So we all know that filmmaking can be super expensive. It takes a lot of people and time and equipment and money to make a film happen. But especially when you're just starting out, public funding can be really hard to come by, and private investment is even trickier. And it's all well and good if you've got a trust fund or a really rich relative or a knack for guessing the lottery numbers. But most of us have none of those things, so if you do have that last one, do let me know. So where do you start? Well, earlier this year we selected 3 filmmakers who are sort of early to mid-career and making real strides in the industry, but who are crucially now working with something of a budget, whether that's a relatively high-tech camera, or industry-grade materials, or a whole film crew. And we set them the task of making a film for just £5, plus everyday materials that most people have access to, which we took to mean a smartphone, household objects, and public locations. And of course, their own homes. So in just a moment, we screen those films, and then I'll be joined by 3 filmmakers on this stage, where we'll have a bit of a chat about their processes, dig into how they actually made their fiber flicks, if you like, and then we'll open up to an audience Q&A, where you'll have a chance to ask them any burning questions. I've got to note there's a content warning for one of the films. It contains just some videos may find distressing. But yeah, I hope you'll join us for the full hour. Love to see so many faces, and without further ado, let's get to it.
You know those promises you make to yourself as a kid? The ones where you say to yourself, one day, when I grow up, I'll be able to do this.
Oh, like the song in Matilda?
The movie?
No, the musical?
Sure.
Yeah, I once took a class in musical theatre.
So ever since I was 5, I've always wanted to climb this tree, right? And when I did, I found... Stick with me on this. On the piece, there was a map. On the map, there was a drawing that led me down a deep, dark hole to seek out the Bunny Man.
A bunny man?
Nuh-uh. The Bunny Man. They say all the bright lights at night are the work of the Bunny Man.
Right, and what did you have to do for this bunny man? Give it a carrot?
The Bunny Man has no need for carrots. They only care for words that form questions that befuddle. Not carrots, but riddles.
Who's that with a neck and no head?
A shirt. What is at the end of everything? The letter G.
Rat.
Next, I had to climb the highest room of the tallest tower.
Oh, more climbing, yeah?
Yes, it's an upwards journey. There I played an impossible game of chess with an armless statue.
Well, if it was harmless, probably wasn't that difficult, was it?
No. As in it didn't have any arms. You did hear me say it was an impossible game of chess, didn't you?
Okay, my point still stands. So this armless statue, how did it play?
Surprisingly well. I mean, it almost beat me. Almost. For the next piece of 5, I ventured to the rocks.
Okay, hold on, don't tell me. So, these rocks, yeah? I bet they talked or something.
Don't be ridiculous. They sang.
And how did you find these rocks?
It wasn't easy. The rocks never stay in one place. You know when your ears start randomly ringing? Well, if you follow that sound, it'll lead you to them. But you have to be really careful. These rocks are tricksters.
Come on, lady, I've got work to do.
Hello?
Listen! Those that fail the test are trapped in the bedrock forever. Your wails and screams and cries just become another voice in their sorrowful choir.
So how did you get it?
By finishing the melody.
And the final piece?
Look, I know you don't usually take cash, but this is all I've got.
So, there's no way in hell that your dog didn't just tear this up.
Apparently the final piece is in this place called the Dream Palace, but I haven't found it.
You know I can't take this, right? Do you not have contact lists or something?
No. But you can't put price on a good story, can you?
Ugh, fine. They don't pay me enough anyway. Look. If you see this bunny man, tell them to bring in the final piece. Yeah?
Leave me alone.
Hello.
I've got the earaches.
Yo, can you hear me?
Hey.
Hi, you alright?
Yeah, I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Sure.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Whereabouts do you live?
South London.
Where South London? I'm in South East.
South East, yeah, same. What are you doing
Is it?
today? Yeah.
Nothing, I'm well bored.
Yeah, same. Nothing to do, is there?
What do you mean?
Yeah, probably. What time?
I don't know, like a couple hours?
Like 5, 6?
Yeah, that works. You got the itches?
Yeah, the earaches. Just going out for a little bit. I'm saving you for later. Okay? Nice to meet you. Where do you want to go?
Unlike the moon in the sky, unlike the grass on the ground, yeah. I am endlessly bound to, I am eternally bound to.
What did I do? I'm pretty sure I did something wrong.
It's not you. It's just.
Hey, can I see? Let me see. Go on, it's fine. I've had it before. It's kind of pretty, don't you think?
Not really.
Do you want to do this again? Maybe tomorrow?
Really?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I want to?
I don't know. Bit weird, isn't I?
As long as you don't start itching your fanny, you're good. So, see you tomorrow?
Yeah.
Cool.
Dunno.
Defo. Go on.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Get home safe.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Earrings.
Cool. Okay, thank you so much for your wonderful films. We all really enjoyed them, I'm sure. I certainly did. So I'm wondering if we could just start by going down the panel. I'll give you a quick introduction, and you could just tell us a bit about your film. Cool. So I'm going to start with Emmanuel, just because you're closest to me. So Emmanuel Lee he won Best New Talent at BFI Future Film Festival 2021. So this year, and he co-runs the production company Big Ten Films, which is award-winning. He was shortlisted for the Cinemagic Young Filmmaker 2021, and he is currently studying film at the University of Westminster. Could you tell us just a bit about what we saw?
Sure. So we shot it on a smartphone. It was just quite a freeing experience because you didn't have to worry about rigging up cameras or any lights or any of that technical stuff. You can just focus on the story and getting the shots that you need and just taking the audience on a ride. That's fun as possible. I think we had a small but mighty cast and crew. I think most of them are here. We've got Scott, the writer producer. We've got Clara, the composer. I think Tia, and unfortunately I think she didn't make it. I think I just wanted to make an ode to storytelling on a budget. I want to show that £5 could go a long way, literally. And that if you've got a story you're burning to tell, then tell it. Push past any boundary, be it metaphorical, physical, or sometimes legal.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That definitely did that for me. Just blitzing down the panel, we've got Luna Carmine, who is a film director. She came up through Shortflix, which is a commissioning and development scheme by Creative England and Sky Arts, on which she made her debut short Nosebleed. And more recently, she made Shag Bands, which was a film for commission and played actually at last year's BFI London Film Festival. And she's currently developing, I think, her debut and second features with the BBC and BFI, respectively. Luna, can you tell a few words about...
Yeah, I don't know where to start. I feel like people are going to start thinking I've got like a hair fetish or something in my films, but we basically had just like one afternoon, 7 hours or something, not even that, because we just talk so much, to film this. By the way, I got bottled doing this while we were walking along. Frankie can concur that. It was just me and my terrible Hawaii. I refused to get an iPhone. And if it wasn't for Frankie, we're just down for doing weird shit with me. Yeah. And just had a laugh. It's so nice. Thank you for asking me to do this, because this is how I started making stuff, was just weird montages and weird shorts of all the kids that are on the road that I lived down. And it just felt like that again, and it's rogue and guerrilla and captured some really funny stuff on the film as well. Yeah, I had a great time doing it.
Amazing, thanks. I had a great time watching.
Sorry.
Just moving down the panel, we've got Jess Chowdhury, who's a sculptor, animator, and filmmaker. She recently graduated from Wimbledon College, and her graduation short, Early Grief Special, was nominated for Best Animation at this year's BFI Future Film Festival. There we go. She was shortlisted for the Cinemagic Young Filmmaker 2020, and she was a finalist in the Spectrum Arts Awards. So, Jess, just tell us a bit about what we saw.
Okay. So it's a stop motion animation I did on my phone using a free app. And I just used everything I had in my room because it's quite messy. So I like just picking up things that are close by. So I made this snail-like shell out of cardboard and glue roll and masking tape. And I just wanted to tell a story about a shell and being trapped in a shell. So I feel like most people feel that way, where they just want to open up, but they're kind of too scared to. So I wanted to do a short film about what would it be like to be ready to come out, or being forced to, and sort of just experimenting in a cardboard box with that idea, and just using rice as well, as just a medium that's quite fun to play with and just touch. And I had lots of fun making it too.
Amazing, thank you all so much. And just another one going down the panel, and then we'll start into some sort of actual chatting. Just in 5 words, how would you sum up your experience of making your short films? So I can give you a few moments to think about that. Who wants to go first?
Challenging. I would say isolating because I was just in my room doing it. So I didn't like have a team. I was just like me and cardboard and rice in the dark. So I waited till the sun went down because it was like affecting the lighting. So yeah, it was very challenging, lonely, fun, playful, I guess, because it was like I was just making stuff with my hands and paint. So it's like art attack, just playing. Yeah. How many am I at? Can you come back to me?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Locations, get in, get out.
Yeah, 5 games.
Wow.
Amazing. And Luna?
Sweltering. Hilarious. Heaving. That happened. I actually thought Frankie was actually choking at one point, so scary. And painful because the bottling experience.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear.
It's not glass. It's not that. Yeah.
We'll come on to that. Yeah. I'm gathering some mixed sentiments about low budget filmmaking from this panel. Amazing. Okay. Thank you so much. Cool. And then just kind of talking about your processes a bit, sort of going from beginning to end. So when you got the commission, when you said, "Oh, you're going to be making these ultra low budget films," how much did that influence your planning? Like, were you planning differently because it was a low budget film, or were you sort of just making a film that you wanted to make regardless? So anyone can jump on.
Yeah, sure. So when I got the commission, I was very much thinking, what can I do with a phone that I couldn't otherwise do with a big camera? And also, where would I want to shoot? What would I want to shoot that I wouldn't feel that I missed out on by not shooting with a big camera? So I was just thinking, what you lose in image quality and image stability with a cinema camera, you gain in access with smartphones. So you can get it in places, you can sneak shots in places that otherwise wouldn't allow filming, or you can climb up a tree with it. And yeah, it very much swung from where can I go, and then what kind of stories can I spin out of these places.
Amazing, yeah, definitely. And think you use those to your advantage. Amazing, yeah. What about Jess, Luna?
So when I found out of the commission, I was really excited because when I started out animating, I just started in my room as well, just using rice, and I wanted to go back to that because I kind of lost, not lost interest, but it's quite hard when during stressful times to be excited or passionate about creating things. So it kind of woke me up a bit, how can I play to these strengths in this challenge, and what can I challenge myself with? But I knew I was going to do it in my room, because with animation you kind of need to be able to control everything that you see on screen, because it can be quite shaky and jerky and quite disorientating. But sometimes with the style that works. But for me, I just wanted to tell a really simple story using things that were close to hand, so not buying anything actually. Everything I used in the film was stuff that was at home in my room, and it was just really fun to just come up with a story. And I kept it really simple because of the budget and also the time, the deadline. So I couldn't make a huge set or lots of mini props, which is what I enjoy doing. So I thought, really simple and just have fun with it and play around. So that was my feeling going into it.
Yeah, and Luna, I guess.
I wasn't sure if I was going to accept doing it, because I was at first I was do I have the time to do this? And then I thought, no, this is how I started making, weird stuff on my own with my friends. And I was like, no, I just, it can take so long to even get a funded short film made, from initial idea to then it premiering. It can be, I filmed Nosebleed in 2017, and, it was still 3 years. It takes a really long time to just get shorts made even. And it was just so nice to sort of have the ability to just go out and ask your friends to do something and just have a laugh. And you capture, you've got more of a chance of capturing real life and special moments that you try to navigate and make happen on set with funding, but you just get that so much quicker and easier when you're just roguing it out and just on the streets. And it was just so much fun.
Yeah, so it seems for all three of you, leaning into the fact that it's a low budget short and that you don't have loads money or, you know, equipment is really, yeah, important to making these films, I suppose. That's really exciting, yeah, and such a good point about time as well. Like, we gave you quite a tight turnaround. I think it was like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. So yeah, that is obviously way shorter than you would normally have. So that's so true. Yeah, that does affect the kind of stuff you're making. Yeah, and I guess kind of coming off that, then like practically for all of you, and this might vary a bit, I guess, from live acting to animation, but what did that process look like? Like how did you manage to actually make it happen? So maybe starting with the manual, because I can see you nodding.
So the process, like, what was it like actually making it? I suppose, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm used to. I like Luna. I started off just making no budget things, just with mates, just gallivanting around London, getting kicked out from places. So it was a similar thing of just planning everything out beforehand, knowing what scene we want to get, knowing what performances we want to get, and then getting into the location and shooting it as discreetly as we could, and then getting back out again. And I think it does add to it. I think we could, like Nina said, with it being so off the cuff and not on a controlled set environment, everyone's a lot more heightened and aware and willing to really give their all in the short time that we have before we get kicked out.
Definitely, yeah, quickly, yeah. And I think that sense of like adventure and like definitely feeds into like the film as a whole.
Yeah, because I think you can when you're working on low budget, if you working from just what you have, what you have already, you don't need to build sets, you don't need to build props or design a whole new costume. Just raid your mom's wardrobe if you need, and just start from what you have, be inspired by what you have, and that's just the way I've been used to working. I think because you already have all your production stuff in place, so you can just get there and shoot.
Amazing, yeah, brilliant. And then Luna and Jess, was that something you found, or did you work slightly differently?
I feel like whatever I write anyway, I always think of locations in mind. That's just how I write scripts, so I kind of did that with this. And my mum's that bedroom is in Nosebleed. That was a bedroom that I shared with my mum, and it's going to be all teared down soon, and I wanted to immortalise it again and just have it how it looked, because it's just, I love it. It's stunning. It's like from the 60s, and I just wanted to immortalise that. But I guess, actually, weirdly, I found myself doing more of a shot list for this because I had such little time. I do shot lists anyway, but I actually storyboarded this because I wanted to make sure, it was just me and two girls, Layla and Frankie, that, I didn't have anyone else to rely on to be like, yeah, you've got to shoot that, you've got to do that. So I had to make sure that I storyboarded it all to make sure I actually got it done and charge my phone, which I never do.
And clear your phone storage.
For me it was also like lots of thinking of ideas first and brainstorming, and then it was the storyboarding, which took a few days because it starts out really long, and then as I keep doing different storyboards it gets shorter and shorter because I just take out scenes that don't need any more, because it's all about just telling the story as simply as you can rather than stretching it out, because with animation it takes so long. So I knew if I did the whole thing it would take a long time. So I think I spent around 7 hours animating, because I didn't want to do it in too many days, because again with the lighting and also the setup in my room, it's quite awkward having that phone there, and you kind of need to use your phone as usual. So it was about setting up the space in my room and figuring out how I was going to shoot it. And also I used my desk lamps as well, so just mainly planning before you do anything. That's what animation is, just lots of planning. And then when I was animating, I just sort of saw what works, what doesn't, and then when it came to editing, that took a couple of hours, or maybe I say hours, a day, because it was on the phone. But yeah, so storyboarding, then making all the items, setting up, animating, and then editing. So that was my process.
Yeah, and it seems for all of you in lieu of having film crew or the ability to spend time on things, you still have to really think about what you're doing and be really intentional with like the planning stages of it, which is really interesting to hear. Just because I think Jess, you said you didn't spend the £5.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I can give it. I don't know what to do with it.
You can buy yourself a coffee. You can do whatever you want with that. But yeah, Emmanuel and Luna, do you want to sort of just say what you actually spent that £5 on? I guess the money did appear on screen.
Yeah, I guess you did see the budget on screen. I think I decided since I like what I know is no budget, I want to make a no budget short and destroy the £5 and use it as a prop. I guess that's as much as you need to do. Yeah, that's how we use the £5.
Brilliant, yeah, and Luna?
I feel like Poundland sponsored this film, I won't lie to you. It was liquid latex and blood, because the Halloween section's out now, you know. Sandwich. Am I sponsoring them? What's going? This isn't an ad. Sandwich bags, a pair of tights, and elastic bands. Yeah, to make the nice little hairball.
That must have been a horrifying shopping list.
I don't know what they thought I was doing.
Amazing, yeah. So it's interesting, like actually 3 very different ways of spending a fiver, or that's really interesting because I sort of did wonder what you were actually going to spend that £5 on. So that's personally quite interesting.
I was gonna. The final piece that was missing from the. I was gonna bring that today. I drew the BFI on it, and I was gonna hand that in. That'll be my invoice for reimbursement.
Did you do that though?
I didn't. So it's gone.
Well, it counts. Amazing, and you've all kind of touched on this, but like obviously with working on such a low budget, you're having to become a one-person band, or if you do have collaborators, you can't afford to have someone putting focus because you're doing it off a smartphone. So like, either how did doing it on your own, in your case Jess, affect kind of the decisions you made, or for Luna and Emmanuel, sort of how did you approach collaboration when you presumably didn't have the budget to pay people? So I guess starting with whoever wants to go first.
I guess with animation, because I'm still like learning as I go, and it's one of those things that I guess animators like animating on their own. I think it's quite hard to do that job with like everyone around you, because it's just you and like a puppet moving it very tiny increments and then taking a picture hundreds of times until you lose your mind. But yeah, I think I would like to work more in a team, like when it comes to the post-production type stuff, like editing, because you kind of need that fresh pair of eyes always. And with my film, I really just kept it as like simple as I could with what I was able to animate, because it is quite, I don't want to say painful, but yeah, it is kind of like my back ached when I was doing it. But I think it was just, once you're in the zone, it's very like, it's a quiet process. You don't really talk a lot, you just sort of switch off and make the film. Yeah, that doesn't sound very fun, but yeah.
I feel like you all got bravely injured in this process, like the bottling and the...
Yeah.
Oh, well but that's really, I feel like, I guess for animation it's less of a difference to have a really small, just one person or a smaller team. Yeah, and I guess it feels quite, like the film and the process both sound quite meditative almost.
Yeah,
that's really interesting. Great, Emmanuel, Luna?
Yeah, it was really lovely working in a very small, intimate cast and crew. It was just 2 or 3 of us most of the time. And even though I was directing, it was a very collaborative atmosphere. We were always sharing ideas with each other, and we had a lovely. The first time we rehearsed was about an hour before we shot the film. We actually finished the script at 4 a.m. the morning before we shot, so it was all very, very tightly timeline. But it was a lovely atmosphere to work with. It was just it didn't feel like work. It's just fun and creation.
Lovely, yeah. It does feel like a bit of a day out, like watching all of them. It feels kind of, like just seeing you explore. Yeah.
Go to the tank, go to the British Museum.
Yeah. Little tourism program.
Yeah.
Amazing, and Luna?
Yeah, I thought it was really great because just workshopping with Frankie, like she came to my house and just, you know, I was like, stick this on, stick that on. Who do we think this girl is, and how does she act? And had her read a few other bits and pieces until we started filming. And yeah, I really like the freedom of just like work. Like, I feel like I'm a director's actor, and I love spending time with, you know, people who just want to be ugly. Like, I'm really interested in you know, ugly people, and I mean that like an internal kind of ugly. I just want to see it all of the time. And it's rare that you find people who want to go to them places and just do not, you know, have such emotional intelligence, but just willing to just be ugly and be them sides of themselves. And that's always what I'm interested in. And Frankie just is just like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, you know, bloody wrap a bit of extension hair down my throat and put it out for you. And it was just such a laugh, like even how gruesome and grotesque, you know, it is. We just kept giggling and laughing, and I think that's so important, you know, if you're making something a bit disturbing, is to have levity. But we just, you know, it was just such a good day to just get up, not think, you know, entirely about everyone else behind you, and just, you know, go shoot something. And I think that's so important, to just keep making stuff, you know, whether people see it or don't see it, you know. It was just, you know, all you have when making a film is the experience of making the film. You know, the film could be terrible, but the experience is always what you're going to remember. And the experience was just hilarious and fab. And yeah, thanks for asking me to do it.
Oh, lovely. It feels like you went on 3 kind of school trips in a way, and that just, yeah, really lovely. I mean, that would, yeah, in the nicest possible way. I mean that as a compliment. That sounded backhanded. Yeah, and just, I guess, what I found really exciting about you all as filmmakers is you've all got a really distinctive style. So, you know, you could look at a film and say, oh, that's a really Jack Chowdhury film, that's a really Una Kamoon film, that's a really Emmanuel Lee film. And I guess a conversation that happens a lot in the DIY space is kind of, to what extent should people lean into the DIY-ness and try and make something that looks in a particular way, and to what extent should people try and put their own spin on films? And I feel like you all did that really successfully, in that, like, I could look at those films and I could sort of, yeah, I could see lots of echoes of your previous work kind of appearing in them. So, like, do you have any practical tips for emerging filmmakers, or filmmakers sort of relatively early career, for finding that personal style when you have, you know, a fiver?
I'd say start small, you know, rather than go really big and ambitious. Just think about like stories that you want to share and how best you can tell them. And with me, it's like you don't have to use words sometimes. Like visually, people can tell a story without needing it to be said or spoon-fed to them. And using what you have is really great, because it's like your personal belongings and your items that are close to you. And that's what's really easy with starting out in film, is that you don't have to like buy really expensive materials and new stuff. You can just use what you have and then play on it from there and just have fun with it. But like, don't stress out about what other people think, because that's something that really gets in your head a lot, is like, how will people react to this? But when you're making films, just make it for yourself first, and then once you've made it, then you kind of feel like, okay, I want to share this now. And then once it's out there, you can just keep making and making.
Yeah, that's really clear. Thank you. Emmanuel, Luna?
Yeah, I think it comes to practice. I think the more you make, the more you'll start to notice the things that you're drawn to, you're naturally drawn to, and then the style will come from that. You know, don't worry too much about needing to be unique or having a personal style. Just keep absorbing all kinds of art forms, and going out into the world as well, and just eavesdropping and seeing what things really interest you and really fascinate you, and those things will naturally come into your film potentially. I mean, I think everyone's process is different, but for me, my creative process would be, I usually start with locations. You know, locations that have some sort of mystique to them, some kind of that when I walk into it, I feel like, oh my god, I really want to imagine what kind of characters could inhabit this space, what kind of stories could be told here, and then. Yeah, so I start with images. I start with images that my mind really snags onto, and in exploring those images, I realize what it is that's about my personal story, my emotional the emotional undercurrent to that image, and then that's when the film kind of emerges. But yeah, I think just really expand your horizons, soak in everything you can, and the things that you're fascinated in. Hopefully, other people will be fascinated in, but once you put it into your films.
Amazing, yeah, thank you. That's such a good point. And yeah, Lena.
Probably in Gemini to what Jess said, like, I always want to make stuff that 14-year-old me would have bunked school and illegally streamed on Putlocker. And that's what I want to, to gift to people my films. I couldn't care if, 1,000 people saw them, but if like one gross girl went on, bunked school, went on Putlocker and found my movies and was like, that is me, I'm ugly like that, I feel like that, then that's, I'm happy. Job done. And I think, the films, I started obsessing with film when I was like 14 and I watched 3 films a day, and I would, don't do this, but I would plan my days of skiving school to watch films, and I'd pick out the film the night before. And I think there's always films that have this kind of essence that I think tone's really important. I think that's what you want when you make your stuff is tone. You can have like aesthetics, but I think feeling, I know before I make something the feeling and the tone that it's going to be. And I think just follow your gut to them kinds of feelings and them kind of people that you want to see. And I think real recognises real, and like, the real people that will watch your films, like, I think, just feeling, intuition, and just follow that, I think.
Brilliant, that's again, all 3 of you, such brilliant advice. That we're really happy to have that insight. We're going to open out to a Q&A now.
Well, I suppose the order of everything. You gotta write the script first, and then rehearse with the actors, shoot the scenes, and then edit it together. That still remains the same. Just everything is a lot more simplified, which can be nice.
I feel like I'm heavily obsessive in any HOD, like any department, so the obsessive and compulsiveness is completely still there, and definitely with a script and your idea, and that comes first, and then a shot list. And I don't always storyboard my shorts completely. There's just certain scenes that I want to capture a certain essence, and I will storyboard them. But with this, where it was just me and I had no one else helping me, I had to make sure that I was super organised, and I had outfits planned, and I made my hair ball the day before. I think preparation, well, actually no, I feel like the preparation is still just as rigorous as on a funded, and I feel like how much I gave to it was the same as I would give on my funded stuff. So I think, I don't really think loads, other than loads of people sending me emails or ringing me up about eyeliner or something like that. I think that was the difference. I still was just obsessed with every little crack and crevice of it. So obsessiveness, yeah.
Yeah, for me, everything was pretty much the same, because I've never made a film with funding or budget. It's all been uni work and college coursework stuff, and free time experimenting with animation. So I think what I changed was just how much I made, because I like to make more miniatures and model making and lots of detailed things like that. So without spending money, I used going to the craft shop a lot. I just didn't do that. I thought, what do I have? Cardboard, tape, cheap paints from Wilco's. I'll just use that. So the only thing that changed was just cutting down on how much I made, in terms of crafts and small things. But yeah, and the phone, using a phone, which was interesting. It was quite hard actually animating on a phone. If you do animation on a phone, just be really slow when you're tapping the screen, because if you shake the camera, you just mess up a lot of scenes. But yeah.
It's worth saying also we asked them all to edit it on their phones, which I think I can't imagine was easy.
So my friend Maya, they couldn't make it here today, but they're a fashion designer. They're still studying, but they want to be a fashion designer. So for their art GCSE, they made that costume, and we helped them shoot their art video. So just pulling in favors, you know.
I was concerned it wasn't your wardrobe with your mother, so I
right, yes, no. My mother doesn't have a funny costume in the wardrobe, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it was just a friend who happened to have the costume. If I had 500, I probably wouldn't have made this film. I think it's very much just springing from, if I had £5, what would I do with it? And kind of almost really trying to, when you're so restricted inside the box and you can't think outside of it, you can try and turn the box inside out, I suppose. So it's just that. So yeah, I think if I had 500, I would have made a different film entirely. I scouted them all out before, so I sort of knew whereabouts like security would be coming in, or where the vantage points were. And I think to be honest, I think it is just, I'm a big proponent for guerrilla filmmaking, especially when you're working on a low budget and you have no choice. Then shoot wherever the hell you want, as long as you. I try to stick to. I have a rule called the 3Ds. I try not to disturb, disrupt, or destroy. So disturb, meaning members of the public, try not to disturb them. They're not there to be in your film. Don't ruin their day by asking them to get out of the way. So I think we managed to get mostly empty spaces, but I think a couple of members of the public did make it into the background for some of the shots. So that's disturb, but disrupt is if you're in a business, especially local businesses, try not to disrupt the business because firstly, the main reason being if you disrupt the business, you're more likely to get noticed and kicked out. And thirdly, destroy. It's pretty self-explanatory, that one. Don't destroy anything.
What was the spiral staircase?
The spiral staircase, that was in Premiere in Blackfriars. And that, so we were talking about how we lose location. That was actually, we hadn't planned to shoot there. We were looking up a couple of different spiral staircases. So one in St. Paul's, we went in and it was in the middle of a service. So we got kicked out, and then we went to another place. It was like a really fancy department store, but then it was a bit too fancy. So then we eventually just cycled around and found Premiere Inn. There was a spiral staircase there. So you have to just get in, be as discreet as possible, get your shots, get out, and if you get kicked out, then quick thinking, try and find another location.
I used 3 free apps, so didn't pay for any apps. Premiere Rush, which was recommended, to put the clips together, because I animated the scenes all on a stop motion app. It's just called Stop Motion, and that's free. So I animated it, and then I moved it to Premiere Rush. And then once the film was done, I moved it to iMovie, which is another app, so that I could add the sounds. So I recorded the sounds on my voice memo app. And also for the audio and like the sound of rain, if you go onto YouTube, there's just a creator studio. So it's like a free audio library where you can just download sound effects and music for free. So then I just put it all together. So I kind of spread it out over different apps, because I think one app on a phone would probably crash. But yeah, so that was free, all free.
I pretty much did the same, like sort of alchemy and downloading sounds, because that was not me itching, I promise. Because otherwise, I guess it would probably crash, I feel like most local libraries now anyway have like iMovie, and I think they're really not a nice area, and we have a ICT suite, so I think it's pretty accessible to edit on, in your local library if you can't do it because of storage or reasons on your phone. I think it's definitely, you can find a place and do it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, unfortunately, the clips my phone definitely kept crashing on the Premiere Rush. But that might be because I was using clips from another phone, so it was like a file type issue. So unfortunately, I had to succumb, and I edited it on my laptop. But I have used many free editing apps on my phone before. I can recommend InShot. That's a good one. I always use that for little clips, especially for like day out montages. I think that's great for that. It's and also Premiere Rush. What I did manage to use of it, it's great. It has the multi tracks. It has and it's all free. And the inbuilt camera. We shot using the inbuilt camera inside the free Adobe Rush app, and that allows you to control the settings, the camera settings, like Filmic Pro or Mavis, is that the other one? Yeah, but free.
Brilliant! I didn't know that. So that's really exciting to hear. I think we've sort of run out, or we're gonna have to wrap up now. But yeah, can we join me in having a round of applause for the filmmakers?